Hey everyone, it's Huzuni or Lean, depending on what I've called myself on this forum. And I just want to do a quick overview of how to control and spawn in my new battleship. So I'm calling this the SMS Huzuni. It is my latest battleship. It is a lot larger than my previous one, which is over there. That is just the one gun. I've called that the Destroyer. This is my battleship, so this has 6 turrets. As far as I guess battleship classification, I don't think it classifies as a battleship per se, but that's what I'm calling it because it's a ship with guns on it. So yeah. So when you first spawn it in, there's going to be a few things that you need to do. Obviously, before you spawn it in, I very much recommend having the create mod. You need create mod, create aeronautics, create deep sea is critical for this, create big cannons. There's also a mod that is called, it's this one here, it's the transmissions and linkages. That is absolutely critical. It's a super useful mod for transferring the create power from a base ship into the turrets. It means that you don't have to have a smaller engine sitting in there, which would just be a monolithic pain in the ass. So we've gone with that instead. Sorry, I feel like my sound is quite loud at the moment. I'm just going to drop that down a bit here. Okay. Besides that, the create radars is good fun. Always recommend having that in there. Create big cannon, I've probably already said that, but that is critical as well. And then I've also got create smoke stacks, which is a mod that means that once a steam boiler is running, you can use chimneys and you can funnel the chimneys up and out. Just adds to the fun of it if you're into that type of thing. Wonderful. So we'll go through. We've just spawned it in. The first thing that we will need is the physics assembler. You can obviously chuck that anywhere. Now this ship should be fully glued, so let's go ahead and assemble that. It is going to fall like a rock. Now my previous ship was much more reliant on levitite. This one here should just float. And that comes down to adding a whole bunch of deep sea float blocks, which means that in theory this is actually relatively survival friendly. Now, let's go through, we'll start with updating all of the things that do not port across in the schematic. Like I said, there is up here, I have, I think it's called steel cabling from the deep sea mod. And for whatever reason, that doesn't route across. I have a bunch of that up here, just like to make it look like rigging. I think it looks really cool. I think in a traditional battleship, this is usually like a radio antenna or something along those lines. These kind of like diamond steel cables. I just think it looks really cool. But you need to pop that back in. The other thing is this andesite universal joint, and we're going to need to reconnect each of our turrets because this does not carry across. So what we'll do is we need to go downstairs and we need to get into our turret section. So we've got our first turret room here. So this joint here, this first one, it just goes straight up and it's just on the other side of this connector here. So just, if you can lie, it's always easier, connect to right here. It's the universal joint head, and it's just that joint head to that joint head here. And the second one is this universal joint head, and there's actually another joint head just past this mechanical arm, and it's just sitting on top of that coke there. So you connect that. That is the loader for our ammunition. So that is that turret there, and then we'll go to the rear turret again. This one here just goes straight up. This one's always, I've tried to keep this as vertical as possible. And then the secondary one here for the loader. I've obviously put 2 of them there at some point. This is a little bit tricky. You might need to break this block here, but that should give us access to that rear bit there. And it might be that we need to use the top one. Ooh, come on, stop bugging. Just be careful when you're up here, because you can very easily break things. Let's just grab a new linkage. It's a bit fiddly. I think it's this ladder actually that might be blocking us from doing it. Ooh, Come on. There we go. So that's connected the rear two turrets. And then we'll just go forward. Then we'll look at starting the ship. This one here is a big one if you're going to want to use the turrets. The front turret is just through the sleeping quarters. For whatever reason, it's a bit buggy, so you might need to just go through here and fix the wall as well. It's a bit of a nuisance. With this one here, you just have to break a couple blocks. Again, it's the one directly above, and this one here. We might need to break through this, and that will let us access that rear one. We can just replace the blocks we broke. But that keeps it from being able to transmit power. So that there is very important. So now that we have done that, we need to start the engine. So to do that, we can come here and we can get some coal. This runs on coal, charcoal, anything combustible. It's literally just a create steam engine. I've got coal chutes up here, so you can make it easier to load. If you've got your charcoal farm, you're at port, you run in here, you dump it in there. That flows all the way down to our engine room, and we'll go there to start the ship. So down here, and then turn to the left and straight through. There was a sign above this that said engine room. It is not there. I don't know why. It's a bit buggy. So this is our main boiler. So we need to make sure that there is coal in here. Once we've got coal in there, what we'll do is we'll grab one extra bit of coal and we'll put it in this starter motor. So by default, it's not going to run because it's overstressed. What you need to do is pull this clutch here. This disconnects the starter motor from the rest of the boiler, and we'll just wait. So right now we're running the two pumps here and the mechanical arm down the bottom. Once we have steam to all four of these boilers, we can pull the lever, and you should see it get significantly faster here as it picks up. And this is the main boiler. This is basically the heart of the ship, and this is all you need to do. Is once this is running, everything else will be powered. So let's head up. Powers the engine, all of the turrets, and so if we go back up top now, you'll see that our radar is spinning and our two smokestacks are now smoking. As for driving the ship, we can come here to the bridge. Now this is the speed controller here. This is a maximum of 14 speed. If you go 0 is actually moving. If you look at our speedometer, it's or airspeed meter, it is 0.15. So if you really want it, it needs to be 0. That is for a full stop. Sorry, you need to be a 15, not a 0. Sorry. This hatch is quite annoying. Feel free to delete that. So it's kind of tank controls, so we'll run at a 14, so that will be our maximum speed. To turn to the left, you pull the button here that will pull us to the left. Actually, that turns us to the right, and then to turn to the left, you pull the switch on the right. So you've disabled the power bank here, you've kicked on the motor, and you'll see right now we're heading straight for that little island there. I'm just going to slow us down so we don't crash. And this here is reverse, so you could throw it in reverse. There is a helm here. I've never had any real luck with the helms. They've always been quite tricky to use. It is connected to a rudder. If you can get it working, let me know how you did it. We've got little lights down here as well, so you know which way you're turning, essentially. So what we'll do is we'll just bring the ship to a full stop. Something else to note, just when you're spawning it, make sure you spawn it when you're doing the schematic. Spawn it above in the air, so it doesn't catch the water in the schematic. And secondly, when you do try to start it, make sure that you're starting it in the water. So you need to drop it down before you can turn on the engines. And that's just because I don't have internal water supplies on this. It just has two pumps kind of sticking out of the bottom. So it's just something to be mindful of there. I can probably show that here if we go underneath. It's just got the 4 pumps there, so that's how the water goes in. So, on to the fire controls for the guns. Oh, you probably also need to connect the radar. So what I would do is grab a data link, And the data link needs to be hooked up down here. So where is our, it needs to go to the network controller, so you right click it, then you come back up here and you reattach the data link. And then you just need to do the same as well for the one on the back of the TV here. This one here. So that's going to give us a radar. There we go. Bit buggy that. Okay, so onto the guns. So there's 3 guns. These are either controlled independently or all at once. So you turn them on here. If a red light is on, that is the gun is on. Grab a data link off of this table here. Just a note, if you want to battle your friends and you've got multiple people using the same blueprint, you might have some issues because you're going to be running off of wireless redstones, which means that any controls that you send from this here, it will be intercepted by every version of this build in the world. So you just have to change the connections on each of the turrets. So you've got A and D, so I'll right click to open up the controls here. You've got A and D to change from left to right, and then we also have up and down to change the turrets up and down. So what we'll do is we'll go to the side here. Oh, actually, where's my... we'll go to this side here. So you can obviously do a broadside if you tilt them like that. Now, if you want to fire the guns, there is a magazine at the side. I would recommend putting a cartridge, otherwise it won't clear, and then whatever shot you want. So in this case, we'll do a shot there, and the shell there. Now, when you do tilt these, it does kind of unbalance the ship a little bit, so just be mindful of that. It's generally a pretty stable platform, but when you have all of your guns rotated into a broadside, it does unbalance it a bit, and that's just down to the way that the boat is kind of balanced. It's very finely tuned there. Okay, we'll close the magazine off. And then if we come into the firing control, this is probably where you need 2 people. Then you can fire from here. So there we go. We've shot the shells. Obviously, there's a bit of recoil. I honestly thought I took that out of the mod pack. And when we're in this recoil state, it's a little bit difficult. I might just turn off the other... Let me move it back to the front. And I'm just going to turn off the other turrets here, just to make it a bit easier for the sake of this demonstration. I just want the front gun. I'll have a screenshot uploaded to the forums with kind of the signs in their originally how they were set up. So, yep, we've just got the front gun here. Now I've got my city over there. We may as well just test the cannons out on it. So if you're obviously shooting in front, there should be less recoil. I honestly thought I disabled that mod. It's a nuisance. Up here is where the fire controls are. It's pretty straightforward. Both guns fire by pressing the button, and then the shells. The shells are just ejected out the back here. You could probably recycle them or catch them in something. I just figured it's easier to shoot them out the back, like that. And to demonstrate the point, if you had this probably facing forward, and that's probably realistically the way you want to be shooting. You don't want to be shooting off to the side on crazy angles because it is going to tip you over. So try and keep it as forward facing as possible, and then just navigate the ship. Yeah, it's got a pretty decent rate of fire. Sometimes it does have issues as far as firing it goes. If you do encounter problems firing the turrets, you can come in here. What I would recommend is just turning off the turret. So if you go back down here, you turn it off. And the easiest way that I've found to kind of clear issues with it is to just turn it off and then to just grab it and to just delete the block until the thing falls out. Sometimes it gets stuck. There you go. So you might see that where there's a blockage, and then just replace it, turn it back on, and you can shoot again. Lovely. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that is my steamship. Like I said, check out the Create the Skies mod pack. It's really cool. Little features like, yeah, you see the boilers stop there because we took it out of the water. The smokestack stops. I really love that. It's super cool.